Hey there, and welcome into another episode of A for Effort, coming to you with another quality movie review. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, we like to start off by giving thanks to MoviePass. $9.95 a month, gets you one movie a day at cinemas in your area. Check MoviePass.com for listings. I am so excited to talk about this movie today. We have reached the very first superhero movie of the year, and it does not disappoint. In fact, every movie this year will have a tough time living up to what this movie was. Honest to goodness, if it wasn't for Infinity War, which is going to make everything pale in comparison, every movie that would come out this year has to live up to the Black Panther. This movie is truly hyped. From the moment it got a first trailer to the moment it was released, the hype is real. I can't tell you how good this movie was without going into spoilers. This movie just was so great, and it's great on many levels, from the cultural impact to the brilliance of the cast to everything about this movie. It is truly, truly amazing. So the movie starts. Let's start by saying this movie is directed by Ryan Coogler, and by far, after this movie, and if it wasn't already, but after this movie, he has become one of my favorite directors. I loved Creed. Creed was my favorite Rocky movie. Growing up, Rocky was one of those characters. My dad, anytime the movie was on, we watched it. I have a strong background with the character of Rocky Balboa, and to say that number 7 in this franchise was my absolute favorite, it breathed a breath of fresh air into that movie, and it truly was brilliant. And he reteams with Michael B. Jordan in this, and he brings his flair that made Creed so good into this movie, and it was absolutely brilliant. And do I say it's my favorite Marvel movie? It's up there. Top 5? More than likely. But to say it's the best, well, maybe when it's all said and done after every movie we've seen, that might be the case, but right now it's in the top 5 for sure. The movie starts by giving you a brief history of Wakanda, and they do a brilliant job of describing Wakanda to you and making you care for Wakanda as much as any of the characters in the movie. So you get a brief history of Wakanda and the vibranium and everything that, is the culture of Wakanda and the tribes of Wakanda and everything like that. Then you get a flashback to Oakland 1992, where you find out that Wakandans have been sending war dogs or spies to other countries to just keep tabs on where they are culturally and economically. And we learn that Sterling K. Brown's character, Najobu, is the king's brother, King T'Chaka's brother. And he's one of the war dogs sent to the United States to spy on the United States. And it's come to find out that he helped Ulysses Claw, played by Andy Serkis, who is reprising his role from Age of Ultron. If you haven't seen Age of Ultron, or you have and you just can't remember that character, it's the character that gets his arm cut off by Ultron. And so helps him steal vibranium from Wakanda 30 years ago, would be 1992 or a little bit earlier, and this event happens, and you don't see how the event plays out. It's ended right there. So then the movie picks up post-Civil War, where King T'Chaka died at the hands of Baron Zemo in that movie, and Prince T'Challa, reprising his role, Chadwick Boseman of the Black Panther, is on his way back to Wakanda for his coronation ceremony as the king. This is where we meet Okoye, played by Danai Gurira, who's also Michonne from The Walking Dead. This is where we meet Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o. When we arrive in Wakanda, we meet Ramonda, Queen Mother, played by Angela Bassett, and we meet my favorite character of the film, Shuri, played by Letitia Wright. These 4 women killed it. Above the 2 leading men, Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman, these 4 women were brilliant. This movie, as much as I know it will have an impact on our society culturally, for the race diversity that this movie had, the feminine aspect was almost as impactful. The 4 women that started this movie was absolutely brilliant. They were great. They were the shining stars of this movie. So we meet these characters, and they all are preparing for the coronation ceremony. And it's not really even, I say, coronation ceremony. It's actually a ritual battle, meaning that T'Challa has to fight the royal bloods of Wakanda for his right to be king. And so we go to Warrior Falls, and this is a prominent spot in Wakandan culture and Wakandan history in the Marvel comics, and this is where this is where the battle takes place. So we get there, and four tribes say they're not going to fight him for his throne, and lastly, M'Baku, who leads the Jabari tribe, which they worship the white gorilla, where most of the country worship Basque, the panther god. They worship the white gorilla god. He comes and he fights. They have this wonderful fight scene between the two of them, M'Baku and T'Challa, and T'Challa wins and becomes the official king of Wakanda, and it was a beautiful scene. And then we're led over to meet the villain of the movie, Eric Stevens, aka Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan. And he was absolutely brilliant. It starts with him having a pairing with Ulysses Claw, again, Andy Serkis' character, who is absolutely brilliant. It's nice to see him actually get to have a face role and not a CGI character like he is in all the Planet of the Apes or the Lord of the Rings or King Kong. He actually got to be a face role, which was important for me. I thought it was brilliant. He was outstanding. He takes Ulysses Claw to the next level of kind of psychotic. Really, it was awesome. Really, truly was. So we meet our villain, and he gets Claw some vibranium to sell. And you realize towards the middle of the movie that he did all this to put Claw back on their radar, so that he had a reason to get into Wakanda, using Claw to get into Wakanda, because all he wanted to do was to get there. He's an outsider. He has a war dog tattoo, which is a tattoo on the inner lip, to prove that he's Wakandan, but because he was born in America, they don't recognize him as a true Wakandan. He helps Claw get vibranium. Then Claw goes to sell it to a buyer in South Korea. This is where one of the coolest battle sequences of the movie takes place. We're in South Korea, and this is where we meet Everett Ross, who is Martin Freeman reprising his role from Civil War, coming into contact with T'Challa, Okoye, and Nakia, who are there to try to get Claw, and they have a really great car chase scene. It's one of the best sequences in the entire movie. Some of the other characters in this movie, like Forrest Whitaker has a role as the Grand Priest of Wakanda, Zuri. Daniel Kawalu, who was in Get Out, also in Black Mirror, plays Wakabe. He was great. The character that stood out the most for me was Michael B. Jordan's character. I love Michael B. Jordan as an actor, playing Creed and Fruitvale Station and Chronicle, even a little bit Fantastic Four. I know that's blasphemy to say, but I really did love him as an actor just in general. But his villain stood out for me. Honestly, the last two villains Marvel's had, two of the last three really, because Hela was okay in Ragnarok, but the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming and Killmonger in this movie were so damn heartfelt. Like, you don't know who to root for. Like, the Vulture was doing it for his family, right? And this guy just wanted to be a part of his country, and because he couldn't be, because they left him behind after an event that happened to him. Like, let's get into his plot a bit. See that it's fully understood why this is so compelling. That opening scene that I talked about with Sterling K. Brown's character, so he betrayed Wakanda and helped Claw get the vibranium out of Wakanda, and it was all because he believed the oppression in America of the black community was a reason to help and to step out from the shadows, have Wakanda step out from the shadows. And so he helped him steal the vibranium to try to start a revolution in America. And King T'Chaka wanted him to come back to Wakanda to stand trial, and he pulled a gun. And it come to find out that Zuri, Forrest Whitaker's character, was there the whole time. He was a spy on Nojubu. And so he goes to shoot him because he felt betrayed, and T'Chaka ends up killing him. And they decide, the two of them, Zuri and T'Chaka, that they're going to leave the boy behind to protect Wakanda. And so his entire life, Eric has grown up believing in Wakanda, that it exists because of his father, and growing up with the same belief that their people have been oppressed for so long that it's time to come out of the shadows and really let Wakanda be seen by the world. And so he uses Claw to get himself into Wakanda, where he will then challenge T'Chaka, because he's royal blood. Like I said, it's a royal blood ceremony, meaning that royal blood of any of the five families can challenge for the king, and he is T'Challa's cousin, so he can challenge for the throne, and he does. And spoiler alert, he comes out on top. He wins. He's the king in this movie for the majority of it, and his plot is to then break down the government of this country and let the rest of the world have these weapons and let their people rise up around the world, and Wakanda can rule the entire world with him as on the throne. But his need to feel like part of this culture, you can't help but feel for him, and it's devastating when you realize that that's all he ever wanted. He has a great line towards the end of the movie where he said, "I was a little boy from Oakland, California, believing in fairy tales." And it's impactful because it's like, is this place real? Because to the rest of the world it's not, but to him it was. And he finally got to see it. He finally got to be a part of what he wanted. It was just brilliant. Michael B. Jordan crushed it, every sense of the word. He stood out. But for me, Shuri, Letitia Wright's character, stood out the most because she had a lot of the best comedy in the movie. And this movie was very heavy-handed politically and plot-wise, and she kind of brought that levity that every Marvel movie has. And, Tony Stark's snarkiness can really stand to the forefront in most Marvel movies, Avengers movies, Iron Man movies. Thor was brilliantly funny in his last outing. But Shuri really brought that levity to this movie, and it's okay, because most of these movies, Captain America is a straight-edge guy, man. He's not very funny, and that's okay. You need characters like that, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain America, they're very straight-edge guys, and it's okay to have other people be the comedy, be the levity that they can't be. I really loved her. I honestly, personally believe that she has a chance to really be in this universe for a very, very long time. I could see her becoming the Black Panther. I truly believe that Marvel is not going to go the route of recasting their characters so much as to go the route of legacy and to young character that exists and turn them into the existing character, like a Bucky becoming a Captain America or a Shuri becoming a Black Panther. I think that this is 100% possible. Another character that stood out, at least for levity purposes, was M'Baku, played by Winston Duke. He was hilarious. I didn't expect him to be much. I knew he was in the movie. I loved him in Persons of Interest, but I didn't expect much of him because I didn't think this character was going to have a large role, and he had a larger role than I expected, and he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. So, like I said, I don't want to dive too far into spoilers. I kind of spoiled Killmonger's plot in this movie, but I'm not going to spoil the rest of it. I want you guys to experience it for yourselves. I will say that this movie really sets the bar high for the year. With that said, I am going to give it an A++. That's right, 2 pluses, and you shouldn't have expected anything less from a Marvel movie from me. I truly cherish these movies wholeheartedly. All of them are always good. I've never been to a bad one yet, but this one is amazing. A++, definitely. See it in theaters. See it multiple times in theaters. I've already seen it twice. Definitely is a must-see. I know some people that I'm friends with that would never go to Marvel movies and went and saw this one and truly loved it. It has great reasons for you to see it. It's culturally impactful. It's politically impactful. It's just absolutely brilliant in every sense of the word. And for this movie to come out of Marvel's camp, they keep changing the game. Everyone is trying to catch up to Marvel and make themselves a cinematic universe, and everyone's trying to catch up to Marvel to get where they are. This universe, this connected, gigantic piece of art that they've been doing for so long now is changing the game, and it continues to change the game. It continues to make all the difference, and for them to put out this movie at this time in our society when they need something of this nature, it's exactly what we need. I loved it. I hope everyone gets the chance to see it. I hope no one misses out on this opportunity. It's a game changer. It's a brilliant film. Definitely don't miss out on this opportunity. Get out to your theater, see this movie, spend the money. If there's one movie this year so far that I'd say is a must-see, it's this one. I know there will be many other movies that we're going to see, and I know that there's Infinity War in May that'll just change the game again, but this is the one right now. As of February, of the 8 movies that I have seen, or 6 movies that I've seen so far, 7 movies, this is the one that changed the game. It's absolutely brilliant, without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely phenomenal. Come back and listen to us again next time when I review, hopefully 1517 to Paris. If not, it's going to be Annihilation. But yeah, come back to us. Thanks for listening. All the feedback is welcomed each and every time. I've been your host, Matt, and this is A for Effort Movie Reviews.